looks like we are live. Let's see. Give everybody a minute to come on in. And as you do, share this video. And I'm going to be doing the same. So give me a minute as I share. I'm going to invite a few people on in. Let's see. Invite a few people in here. I'm ready to have an interesting discussion tonight. Hoping that we can do just that. So let me share this out. And y'all do the same for me. Let me see, share it to a group. See, as you come in, wipe your feet, pay your respects, tell me who you are and where you're listening from. And hopefully you can join this conversation with me, maybe add some value, because I can't think of everything, right? I can't think of everything, but, you can help me out a little bit. So I'm going to share this here. Let's see. All right. Yeah. And today I want to talk a little bit about how men were set up for failure. How this society has set men up for failure. There's my lovely wife, always faithful and true. How you doing, beloved? Appreciate you. Yes, indeed. All right, let me share this out. And as we get a few more people on in and we can get started, give me a chance to warm up a little bit. I was running a little bit behind, but here we are. So, all right, do me a favor as you come in, hit that like button to share this video. Hit that like button to share this video. And I'm doing the same. Let me see. Where we at? Let me see. Yep. All right. Where's the I gotta find the all things relevant link so I can share that out. Where you at, all things relevant? I'm looking for you. Gotta share that out. My brother Julius Hall, how you doing, good brother? I'm trying to get to that all things relevant link so I can share that out too. There we go. Let me share that. Yep. All right. Just trying to give people a little bit of time to come in, man. As like I said, as y'all come in, hit that like button, share that video, share this video, invite some friends, and let's have a conversation about how this society has failed men. All right. This society has, first of all, let me ask you, do you think that this society has done men a great service or a disservice? Now, let me know what you think about that. Brother Julius, my wife, I see a couple more people in there. Let me know what you think. Has this society done men a service or a disservice? What do you think? What do you think? 5 ways this society has set men up to fail and what we can do about it. That's the discussion. That is the discussion. My brother Julius always in the place. Let me see. So I'm going to jump on into it. I see people slowly trickling in. I'm going to jump on into it. It is my contention that this society has set men up to fail. So I want to talk a little bit about how this society has set men up to fail. I want to point some of those things out. And then I want to point out some of the things that we can actually do about it, because it's one thing to complain, it's one thing to vent, but what it really comes down to, brass tacks, right? What can we actually do about it? Are there some actionable things that we can do? Are there some steps that we can take to overcome that setup, right? How can we go from what the society has offered us, which is a setup for the letdown, to how we can actually overcome that? So I want to go into first, in order to establish whether or not we've been set up for failure, we got to decide or determine what the needs are. What do men actually need in this society? I mean, that to me, that's the best way to determine whether or not men have actually been set up to fail. Have we gotten what we need? Well, what are those needs? I was listening to Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins is a pretty brilliant cat. And he came out with this idea of the 6 basic human needs, right? And one of those needs the needs are as follows. There's certainty, which is the assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure, right? There's certainty. There is a human need for certainty. Then there's also a human need for uncertainty or variety. And that's the need for the unknown or a change or new stimuli. We all like surprises, right? They say variety is the spice of life. So there's that. Then there's significance, the need for significance, feeling unique or feeling important, special, or maybe even needed. They say things like women want to feel wanted and men need to feel needed, right? Then there's also number 4, there's connection, love. That's a strong feeling of closeness or union with somebody or something. And you know that that's true because even when people are alone, what are one of the first things they do? They go and get a cat or a dog because they have to feel a connection to something. We are not meant to live alone. Even the Bible says it is not good that man should be alone. And so the Bible says God made for a man, he made a woman. But when we don't have that, many of us will go out and we'll get a dog or a cat. I've seen gerbils and snakes and all kinds of things, right? As long as it's a living thing, there is a need to feel some sense of connection to something. Then there's another 2. These are really kind of, those first 4 were kind of more so on the physical side, but this is what we might deem more on the spiritual side. And that's number 5 would be growth. There's the need to grow, the need to expand our capacity or our capability or understanding, right? All of us typically want to become smarter or become better in some way. So that's growth. And then last but not least, contribution. And that's a sense of service or focus on helping others, giving to and supporting others. And that's strong with me. That's pretty much why I do what I do here on this show and helping other couples. So we all have these needs, but they don't all fall in the same order. So, my man, B-Dub, what's happening, bro? I see you, man. Y'all do me a favor, man. Like I said, as you come in, share this video, hit that like button, invite a friend, and let's have a conversation. I want y'all, I don't have all the answers, fam. So I'd like for y'all to contribute. Let me know what you think about what I'm saying. Maybe add something to what I'm saying. Dispute if you want to, disagree. Either way, man, like I said, I want a dialogue. I want a conversation. So going back to the question, right? The ways that society has set men up to fail. When we talk about those 6 needs, has society set something up or established something where men, I'm just talking about men, right? I mean, I know that women are there too, but I want to talk about men. I want to focus on men right now. Has society established something where men can have all of these basic human needs met? And to that, I say no, right? And when we talk about these 6 basic human needs, just to touch on women for a second, we're not very different from women in this regard. Women have the same basic needs that we do. They just sometimes fall in a different order. So for me, for instance, let's say, or I'll just use my wife, for instance, certainty might be number 1 for her. That might be number 1 on her list. But for me, maybe contribution might be mine, or even, I'll even go a step further, and I would say significance is mine. I really enjoy being helpful and needed. So contribution, significance, they may fall 1 and 1A for me. But that's not the same necessarily for my wife. But to flip that, there are some men who need a higher degree of certainty. And then there are some women who feel a higher sense of contribution or a stronger need for significance. So it's not a gender thing. These things kind of transcend gender lines, but I want to focus on whether or not the men have been set up to fail. And it is my contention that we have, right? So um, these different needs that we're talking about, right? So they say that sociologists and scientists and what's the other ist that I forget? But anyway, these brilliant minds have concluded that as much as 90 to 95% of our overall happiness can be measured by how well we're doing in our intimate relationships. Okay. It can be measured 95%. That's a lot, man. 90 to 95%. It can be attributed to how well we're doing in our intimate relationships. Well, if we have these 6 basic human needs and those needs aren't being met, and there's nothing taking place to cultivate or even facilitate making sure our needs are being met, it's going to be incredibly difficult for us to maintain a healthy relationship with a woman. And I say that it's foundational. These things are foundational for a healthy relationship. So, like, if you look at it this way, if you find, so I gave you 6 needs, right? Certainty, uncertainty or variety, significance, connection, love, growth, and contribution. If you meet anybody, let's say as a man, you go out and you find a woman. If you're able to meet any 2 to 3 of those needs, you got a partner for life. She's really likely not going anywhere, especially if those needs rank high on her list, right? But again, we're given all these different cliches, right? We get cliches like men are logical and women are emotional. Women need to feel wanted and men need to feel needed. Give me some other ones, family. Give me some other ones. There's another one. Let's see. What is the other one that is real popular? I forget what the other one is. Let's see. Women need to feel loved and men need to feel needed. Women are logical. Women are emotional and men are logical. Oh, here's another one. Men need respect and women need love, right? That's the other one. And all of those things are true, right? But they're true across the board for men and women, just expressed differently. So I think these cliches, again, I'm talking about how society has set men up to fail. We're given these cliches, and I think these cliches are meant to kind of amplify our differences. But in my mind, the reality is that we have a lot more in common, and there are a lot more similarities than differences. And I think when we look to amplify how different we are, even though there are some differences, I think when we amplify the differences, we tend to draw more of a wedge between us than a conduit, if that makes sense, or something that connects us, right? Like I said, do me a favor, man. Y'all hit that like button, smash the like button, share this video, and invite a friend, because I think this is a very necessary conversation. Let me pause for the calls real quick, and I'm gonna share this to my partner. I know he wanted to be in here. Never mind. I'm gonna keep it moving. Anyway, where was I at? Let's see. So the cliches. Now here's another one. Men do want to feel needed, and here we are in a society that seems to be more and more, especially over the last decade or so, maybe even decade to 20 years. It seems like women have been encouraged more and more to raise children without men. And you can even go back to the 60s, where different societal handouts were there to compensate for the man's absence. And again, there are times where these things are necessary, right? Sometimes, men die. The father or the husband might die, or whatever might happen. Irreconcilable differences that are real irreconcilable differences. Sometimes those set asides or those programs are needed, but it seems to me as if they were almost put there on purpose to make it like a plan B. Plan A might be marriage, stay with the children's father, but if that don't work, we take it easy out. And sometimes there have been women who have taken the easy out and say, well, hey, I don't really need you for that. The government, aka my next husband, the next male figure, can step in and do what I would otherwise need you for, right? T Renee, what's happening, sis? Do me a favor, hit that like button and share this video, sis. Invite a friend. So it has made it easier for women to do it without a man. And I don't think that that's how it was designed to be or meant to be, right? So here we are. We have it's what seems like the encouragement in many ways for women to do it without a man, to do it alone. I've even heard a lot of women say, "I don't need no man. I can do bad by myself." And and you can do bad by yourself, but why should that be the metrics, right? Why not do better together? That should really be the idea. But I don't want to go too much on a tangent on that. Let's see what else. Women they've been encouraged and empowered to raise children without us, and so that sense of significance that we should feel and that we would feel in the lives of our children, that tie in many ways has been not necessarily always severed, but definitely interrupted. And so that goes to undermine the significance that a man would and should feel in society. Here's another one, and let's take this back. Let's take it even on a younger stage to the girls, right? We have things like Black Girl Magic, Black Girls Rock, right? Black girls are magic. I don't have no problem with that. Black girls do rock. I don't have any problem with that. But who's caping for the boys? Don't black boys rock too? Aren't black boys part of that magic too? Right? So there's always this thing that's looking to, and then there's this, I forget the company, but there were several corporations. I want to say Goldman Sachs, if I remember correctly. It's recent, but they just put out like $1 trillion for Black female businesses, Black female entrepreneurs. So there's always this, it seems like this ongoing effort to assist women to quote unquote thrive and be empowered without the agency of men. But in reality, men are needed. And if you don't understand that as a woman, you're going to miss out on a very integral part and very key component to what it means to be whole in this society, on this planet, really. And it doesn't mean that you can't live without a man. Obviously, we know that. Just like men can live without women, but we are so much better together. And in concert with the statement I just made about how Black girls rock and Black Girl Magic and all these different ideas about the female, right? Let's see, about how the female seems to be exalted, and there seems to be very little love for the boys. A proverb comes to my mind, right? There's this proverb or this quote. It's not even a proverb, it's a quote. And it says, the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. I'm going to say that again. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And we see a lot of angry men, a lot of angry males, a lot of angry boys who, just going back to these basic human needs, it's clear that they have not been embraced, right? Whether it's by their mother or the parental unit or the community at large, there is a serious disconnect, and these boys are not feeling embraced. And that reminds me of a story. I've told this story a few times. This story about elephants and men. But I'm gonna tell it again for those of you who haven't heard. There's this park, national park in South Africa. It's Kruger National Park, and in this park, they were experiencing what the park rangers considered some overcrowding, and so they wanted to relocate some of the elephants. So they had to come up with this plan. These park rangers came up with this plan to move the elephants, or some of the elephants, from one location to a different location to fight this overcrowding problem. The problem, though, was that they hadn't figured out how to create a sling big enough to take the adult male elephants. So all they hoisted out were the females, the adult females, the adolescent females, and the young males. because the sling wasn't big enough and the helicopters weren't powerful enough to hoist the adult males. So they relocated these elephants, these three groups, the adult females, the adolescent females, and the adolescent males. They moved them to a different location where there's other wildlife. Elephants are peaceful by nature, typically, especially with other animals. They don't typically, violate. But at this new location, we get to this new location, and all of a sudden, the rangers are noticing that much of the wildlife is coming up dead. There are rhinoceroses being trampled and gored to death, and the female elephants were being harassed and harmed. The adult female elephants, as well as the adolescent female elephants, they're being harmed and so on. And so the park rangers couldn't figure out where this harm, what was doing all this damage and causing all this turmoil. So they decided to put some cameras up. And with the cameras, they observed that young males were banding together like gangs, and they were grouping up, and they were going out on expeditions, and they were terrorizing the forest. They were harassing and terrorizing the females, both old and young. They were running down the rhinoceroses and stomping them and goring them to death, as well as any other wildlife they could catch. They were just wreaking havoc. And so the first thought was, okay, we got to kill these males. And then one of the other doctors had a brilliant idea. He said, well, instead of doing that, why don't we revisit the idea of getting some of those adult males and bringing them over to the new park? So they re-strategized. They came up with a plan to bring the adult males to the park. And when they did, they brought just a small few. And when they did, the violence stopped almost instantly. I mean, like overnight, the killing was gone. The harassment was gone overnight. And that showed that what that did was that emphasized the importance of the presence of adult males in that community. And what was happening in these young males is that they were experiencing extremely high levels of testosterone. But when they brought the adult males, it held those testosterone levels in check. It held their behavior in check. And so, again, it stopped instantly overnight. So to me, that draws a serious correlation between what happened with the elephants and also what's being experienced here in America with boys, particularly in our communities where there's an absence of adult males. Tyrone Porter, what's good? Cuz I ain't talked to you in a minute, man. How you doing, bro? And so again, just kind of going back to these basic human needs, there is a need for adult male presence, especially healthy adult male presence, because that ushers in healthy adolescent male behavior. Let's see if I got any questions. Any questions? What y'all think about what I'm saying so far? I know I'm up here just running my mouth, man. I ain't checking my comments. What y'all got to say about what I'm saying so far? What do you think about this? Do you agree with me that society has set men up to fail, or am I tripping? Let me know what you think about that. So I'll go back on to there were two programs that come to mind. There was a brother named Dave Anderson, and he created this program called Black Boys Win. I don't know if that's still active or not. I reached out to him to see if it is. I haven't heard back from him yet, but Black Boys Win. I think that was a dope concept. And then President Barack Obama had My Brother's Keeper, the initiative. And I don't think that got very far. I don't even know if anything's going on with that. But again, we constantly see the troubles, the challenges that young boys are having, particularly young Black boys. The suicide rates are through the roof. To me, that's indicative of a failed society when your young males, man, Whitney Houston made a song about it, right? Children are the future. If your young males are committing suicide, then what future do you have, right? I mean, so it is my contention, again, that boys are being set up to fail, that this society has set boys up to fail. Let me see. I had another idea I wanted to share. Let me segue a little bit into some of the things that I think we can do to counter that. right? We talked about the basic human needs, and what I think and here's some things that I think we can do to counter that. Let's see. Tyrone says, "Great topic. Male presence is needed, but absent." I agree with what you're saying. I appreciate that, Cuzzo. I appreciate that. Um, what can we do about it? Right? What can we do about it? One of the primary things we can do. Now, I'm gonna touch on a little bit of both, right? Because we have the boys, but then we also have men, right? And I think that those things, I think both need to be addressed. As far as the boys, one of the best things you can do for boys is, for any child really, is to give them two healthy parents that are in a cooperative, loving relationship, right? Healthy masculine and feminine nurturing from their mother and their father, right? We know that many are deprived of that. I was talking to a friend the other day, and he was telling me how when he was 5 years old, he would hear his mother having sex with random dudes, right? Having sex with random dudes. And then also, many of those dudes were beating her up, like physically, domestic violence. I mean, it's instinctive for a young boy to want to protect his mother. But at 5 years old, to a grown man, there's nothing you can do. You're powerless, right? And so you can imagine the the dysfunction and the turmoil that instills inside of this young man. He was telling me how his mother was so committed to finding her own happiness that she didn't really seem to want to didn't have time to pour, or didn't make time to pour into him. So she would buy him every video game that he wanted. She bought him all kinds of things to keep him preoccupied. And I thought he had it made, right? This is a child thinking as a child. When I was a boy, I thought he had it made. But he was like, nah, man, in hindsight, she was just buying those things for me to babysit me. Those things were to keep him occupied so that she could continue her pursuit of happiness, right? At his expense, right? So again, the first thing that we need to do for young boys would be to give them healthy masculine and feminine nurturing, preferably from their parents, from their mother and father. But here's the other thing, though, because there are a lot of men who, it's too late for that, right? I mean, your formative years, up to what they say, up to 5 to maybe as late as 7, 8 years old, those are your formative years. But we're talking about now, we got men who are, 40 and 50 years old, who are still dealing with the aftermath of that neglect. So one of the first things I would recommend to those men: be honest about where you are, right? Be honest about where you are, and get help, right? An honest and accurate self-assessment. Get yourself some therapy, some counseling, and some coaching so that you can get your mind right. Because what we're seeing now is that we have a lot of men, like right now, Kevin Samuels just died. Kevin Samuels just died about, what has it been, about 2 weeks now? And man, I have never seen so many men go so hard on against women, right? In social media spaces. And but again, now, if you understand the origins of behavior rather than just the behavior, like, it's easy to say, look how he or she is misbehaving, but there's origins for these behaviors, right? So much of this behavior is born out of frustration, resentment, failure at relationships, and again, the origins, even for those things, can go back as far as their childhood and what they didn't get from their mothers. So their mother and father, both offering them some sort of healthy reflection of how they should behave, how they should conduct themselves. So before I go to number 2, let me take a quick pause for the cause. I want to show y'all these books that my wife and I put together. Man, look, my wife, this is primarily my wife's doing. She made this coloring book, magnificently me. It's an ABC coloring book for children. And here's the thing about what inspired this coloring book, family. We didn't see any coloring books with our reflection in them, right? Thick lips, broad nose, kinky, coily hair. Like we need to see that and expressed on the pages, and let our children um, enjoy expressing themselves and working the art as they color these pages. And this book, it has man, let me just read the back of it. It says The Conditions of Love presents Magnificently Me. It's an ABC coloring book featuring fun and adorable characters that your child will grow to love. Whether it's your child's first or 10th coloring book, Magnificently Me is an excellent tool to help identify letters, animals, insects, colors, and a whole lot more. You will be amazed at what your little one can learn. We look forward to helping you bring out the magnificence in them. This is a brilliant work of art that, my name is on here, and a little bit, but man, most of the power goes to my wife for this. She really did a thing in this book. And what I really like about it is that she used images for my grandchildren, right? Like, so here's one with my grandson. And the other day, he saw his image in the coloring book, and he was over the moon about it, right? So I think it's something like 50 something or so pictures in here. But again, I think children love seeing themselves, right? Especially when this is one of the healthiest ways to cultivate an appreciation for self. So that's one book. The other book, of course, the Heart Work book. I always talk about that. This is the relationship book that my wife and I wrote together. 31 Days to Mastering Your Relationship. If you go to Amazon, just type in the search 31 Days to Mastering Your Relationship, and you'll see that book come up. And then last but not least, again, my wife, my name is on here, but she did most of the work in this book. It's The Ultimate Word Search. Look how thick this book is, family. This is something that, of course, for individuals, but also for couples, just to kind of have a little fun, break the monotony, and just, have something new to do. So we put that together. And we got a couple more books coming out. We kind of enjoy just kind of feeding the family with these gifts. But all of them can be found on Amazon.com. And, you can lace your family with those. James Bush says, where can we get them from? Amazon.com. If my wife is listening, do me a favor, love, and put those links in the chat so that they can get those. Let me get back to the topic at hand. Yeah, Amazon.com, family. Amazon.com. That coloring book has been, man, people have been enjoying that. So they've been flying. Anyway, let me get back to the topic at hand. Where did I? Number 2. This is kind of like 1A. I think one of the most important things we can do is educate, right? Now, when I say educate, I don't mean the same thing that that mainstream or what's typically taught in school. In school, when they say educate, they want to teach you things. They want to pound information into you. They want you to memorize and learn what it is that they're sharing with you. The things that they're rehearsing you to regurgitate, right? But the root word of educate is educare. It's a Latin word, and what it really means, the truest meaning of the word educate, is to draw out that which is within, or to bring forth that which is within, right? So when we talk about educating boys, listen to me good, family. When we talk about educating boys, it's as much about drawing out the strengths that are in them, the abilities, the gifts, the talents that they come here with, and connecting them to those talents and helping them maximize those talents, those strengths, those gifts. That is as much about education as anything else, as teaching them the reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? The 3 R's. And so the purpose in doing that, one of the main purposes in doing that, is it helps them to develop their purpose. It helps them to develop what they're passionate about. It helps to put them on the path and give them direction. You understand? So education is as much about drawing out that which is already in them. And I'm telling you, that is going to make a huge difference. Now, again, for a lot of men, we're already caught in the, see, Karen, appreciate you, sis. Karen put the link up, and my wife came through and put the link up. That's what's happening. There's the Magnificently Me link, the Ultimate Word Search link. And I'm sure she'll be putting the other one up soon. Appreciate y'all, family. Yeah, so that education piece, man, goes a long way toward purpose. We hear all this talk about finding your purpose and being on your purpose, which kind of leads me to the next one. Unfortunately, purpose has become synonymous with getting the bag, right? Get the money. And money is important, but we got to understand that money is really just a tool, right? It's necessary, but it's really just a tool. But it's not going to alone bring you the fulfillment that you're looking for or the happiness that your life really is aspiring toward or searching for. And the reason you know that that's true is because you have some rich people out here who are absolutely miserable, right? There's some rich people out here who are absolutely miserable, and rich people commit suicide too. So if money was the answer, then all rich people would be happy, right? So there has to be something else that drives us besides the pursuit of money. So that's one thing. Here's another one that I think is man, probably as important, if not the most important. Our emotional health is so key, right? And when I say emotional health, peep this, right? We're taught as men, we're taught to suppress our emotions. Like part of what we think of as manhood and masculinity is how well we can hide our emotions or check our emotions or even control those emotions. And there's some truth to that, right? It's important for us to control those emotions, but it's more important for us to be in tune with the full range of our emotions rather than denying those emotions. And here's one that I'm going to talk about in particular. There are a lot of, let me say it this way. We tend to think, because of what's promoted, we tend to think that being sensitive is a woman's thing, is a female or feminine thing. But there are a lot of sensitive men out here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Listen to me good, family. There's nothing wrong with a sensitive man. It just means that he's in tune. Now, you don't want to be emotionally reckless. You want to be, have some mastery of those emotions, but there's nothing wrong with being in tune with that sensitivity. Does that make sense? Put a one in the chat if you understand what I'm saying, man. Let me know if that makes sense to you. There's something important about a young man understanding that it's okay to be sensitive. You understand what I'm saying? But in this society, they push this idea that if you're sensitive, that you're a punk or that you're soft. Man, I know some sensitive dudes that will knock the taste out your mouth, right? I'm not the most sensitive cat, but I am compassionate. I just asked my wife, I took a self-assessment just earlier today. And one of the things that it said, ask your best friend to rank the order of these attributes concerning yourself. And I sent it to my wife and I sent it to my brother. And one of the things that my wife put on there was that I'm very compassionate. Now, you can't be compassionate without also being sensitive, or at least in tune to the needs of others. So I consider myself a relatively sensitive brother. I might not be the most sensitive cat, but I'm definitely a relatively sensitive man. And my brother he didn't rank that one as high. He put steady was my number one attribute. But after that, he put affectionate, right? So, again, you can't be affectionate without having some level of sensitivity. So I think that that it's important to acknowledge that it's okay for men to be sensitive. Tyrone says makes sense. And Robert Lee says there are a lot of overly sensitive men, not compassionate. I agree with that. There are a lot of overly sensitive men, and that comes from trauma, right? That comes from unresolved trauma, unresolved resentment, and there's help for that. This is why I do what I do, right? But I agree with you. That's not a good look for men to be overly sensitive and overly emotional, right? One of the attributes of masculinity or masculine health is to have a mastery of those relationships. Women tend to look to express their emotions freely. Men look more so for mastery of those emotions, but you need to be in tune with what those emotions are. And that's a major part of our emotional health. So again, I say Society has underserved us in that way. They've set us up to fail in that way. But there is something that we can do about that. Get in touch, get in tune, but equally important, seek mastery over those relationships once you get in tune with it. There's a book that I like to recommend. This is a book that I recommend to just about all my clients, man. This book is called Feeling is the Secret. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. By Neville Goddard. It's a short book. The audio book is only about 45 minutes long. But I'm telling you, man, that book, that's a cold piece, family. That's a cold piece for men and women. But I recommend that book heavily to men because it really deals with the mastery of those emotions and how important those emotions are, right? And that's all I'll say about that. Check that book out, man. It's 45 minutes long. I've probably listened to that book easily 20 times by now. Sometimes I play it while I'm falling asleep. Sometimes I play it real quick while I'm at work. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Real cold piece. And it's free on YouTube. So check it out. Where else was I gonna go? Let me get a sip real quick. Wet my whistle. Here's another one. Another way that society has failed men. Misdirection. Misdirection. TV, music, all of our entertainment. I talk about get the bag. That's nonsense. They encourage us to get as much sex as we can without having any type of connection. You know, they like to promote this idea that that men we can have sex and move on like it's nothing. And there are a lot of men who can. There are a lot of women who can do that too, right? But that's not healthy, right? That's not healthy. Plenty of fish in the sea. Don't worry about this one. Catch the next bus. Just all these different cliches, these slogans. This I call it advertising for dysfunction. Is what I call it. It's advertising for dysfunction. But we don't know, right? And so by the time we 20 years old, we done had 20, 30 different sex partners, all in the name of having fun. One of the things that I promote to counter that is for men to not engage in relationships that they aren't taking seriously, right? I think it's critically important for a man, for our emotional health as well as our physical health. Pursue relationships that don't pursue a relationship with a woman who's not in line with your purpose and your direction in life, right? Only deal with women who you are serious about, who align with your purpose, and who align with your direction in life. And I'll even go a step further. I was talking to my nephew about this a little while ago. You know, he's 17, you know, full of testosterone right now. And he's a handsome young man and the ladies love him, right? Boy is about 6 feet tall, rock hard abs. He chiseled up. He's a physical specimen, right? And the ladies love him and he love them back, right? But I was telling him, I said, listen, man, I know what you want to do. I've been there. I understand it. I don't promote for young men to have sex, for any man to have sex with a woman that he does not envision being happy about him being the mother of his child. That doesn't mean that you're ready necessarily to create a baby. And you're not talking these 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds out of having sex. They're going to do that, right? What I am saying is pregnancy is possible every time you have sex, right? Pregnancy is possible every time you have sex. So if that's true, and it is, condoms break, birth control pills fail, etc., etc. Don't have sex with a young lady unless you can see yourself being happy about her being the mother of your child. And equally important, her also being happy about being the mother of your child, right? That's going to narrow the pool down drastically. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to tell you what I think ideally you should do, but I'm also very practical and I know what's going to happen. So since I know they're going to do it anyway, at least give them some game, man. Give them some guidelines and some structure that they can go by. If you think this young lady, I don't care how fat that bottom is, how perky her chest is, how pretty her smile is. If you can't envision her being the mother of your child, and A, being happy that she's the mother of your child, and B, see her being happy about being the mother of your child, don't deal with her, because it happens, right? Let me see. Nefertina says, yes, it is very important that men are affirmed to explore the full range of their emotions. Honor your humanity so that you are capable of honoring the same in the people around you. Suppressed emotions erupt in negative ways. It is necessary to find healthy ways to express yourself and tap into your emotions. Listen, emotions make great servants, but horrible masters. You understand me? Emotions make great servants, but horrible masters. They are necessary. Your emotions are fuel, right, for whatever mission you're going on. With that, if you don't have an emotional charge about whatever it is that you're about to do, you're not going to last long. Whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's your relationship, whatever kind of ship you're getting on, the fuel for that ship is emotion. Passion is another word that we call it, right? Otherwise, you're just going through life, meandering about, uninspired. You know what that's going to lead to? You're going to have very average results. I just shared this post on Facebook the other day. In order to have an above average life, you got to become an above average person. In order to have an above average life, you have to become an above average person. How do you become an above average person? You have to do above average things, right? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do necessarily anything extraordinary. You just have to do ordinary things better than average people. Basketball is a very average thing. Anybody can pick up a basketball, dribble it, shoot at the basket, right? Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, they're not doing anything extraordinary. They're doing something very ordinary, better than everybody else. You dig what I'm saying? My wife and I, our marriage, my relationship with my wife, we're not doing anything extraordinary. Marriage, boy meets girl, right? We're doing something very ordinary. We're just doing it better than most people are doing it, right? So all you have to do is find that thing, whatever it is, and execute it at a level that's better than what average people are doing it. One of the most frustrating things in the world, has got to be wishing and hoping and praying for above average results without first becoming an above average person, right? That's got to be the most frustrating thing in the world. So become an above average person so that you can experience above average results. Relationship mastery is one of those above average things. Let me see. What else can I say? Oh, you know what else, man? In the media, this is one of the things the media does. They have consistently made a mockery of manhood, of fatherhood, right? You got your Homer Simpsons, you got your Al Bundys. What are some of the TV dads, man? They make fathers look so stupid and irrelevant and clownish, right? Even on the TV show Family Matters, which was a good show, by the way. Back with Carl and Eddie Winslow. That's when Steve Urkel, right? Even though that was a good show and they gave good messages, the representation that they put in that show of Carl Winslow, the dad, he was obese, right? They could have found a healthier version of masculinity to play that role, but there's always something, right? Even when you go back to the TV show Good Times, James and Florida Evans, did you know that Esther Rowe, the woman who played Florida Evans, she had to fight just to even have a husband on that show. They wanted her to do that show representing life of a single mother, representing the life of a single mother without a husband. And she told them, I'm not doing it. They wanted her bad enough to the point where when she put her foot down, she said, unless you give me a husband, I'm not doing the show. So that's when they brought in John Amos, AKA, what's his name on the show? Man, I forget his name. On the show. But anyway, James Evans. But all of the other men on the show were buffoons, were clownish. Look at Mr. Bookman. Look at JJ. And even little Michael, he was cool, but he was a little light in the loafers, right? He was smart, he was militant, but he was just a little boy, right? So they are it seems that they are averse, especially to healthy images of black men on TV. So they have consistently made a mockery of black masculinity and black manhood on TV. So one of the things that we can do to counter that, we're talking about problems, but we also talking about solutions, right? Be much more selective with what you're going to watch on television, and even more selective about what you allow your children to watch on television. Even my oldest grandchild, she'll be 8 years old in she's a Libra, September, right? She'll be 8 years old in September. She has never watched a regular television program. She has never watched a regular television program, nothing on mainstream TV. The only things that she watches are what her mother and father, which is my daughter and son-in-law, or my son in love him like a real son, my son in love and my daughter and my wife and I, what we put on for them. They aren't allowed to watch regular TV where regular commercials come up advertising erectile dysfunction pills and all that other nonsense, right? AshleyMadison.com and all this other stuff. Like they have never seen that. When music comes on, this is my daughter's dance. I mean, my granddaughter, she just bounces up and down. She don't know nothing about twerking. She don't know nothing about whining and grinding, none of that. She's as square as they come, and I love it. I love it. She is as she is what the kids might call lame, right? But she is being allowed to reach the age of get closer to the age of reason before her psyche starts being bombarded with all of these negative images. You understand? She's not hypersexualized. She's not seeing, just all this negativity about men and women, how they don't get along. None of that garbage. This is important, right? And so this is what I recommend for children, but equally important for adults. We have to be mindful of what we take in too, family. Garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. I remember as a young man, when Martin used to come on, and I was in my early 20s when Martin first hit the scene, and I was in the Navy, and me and my buddies, man, we would come to work mimicking Martin. It was all in good fun. It was clownish, playing around, but again, we were imitating them, playing around. Like, how many of us worked to emulate and imitate Cliff Huxtable? That's where I got a lot of my cues for fatherhood from. At least we had some semblance of balance back then in TV. But we don't have that now. So, you might have to go to YouTube or look at some of them old TV shows to get a to offer your children some healthy perspective on what manhood should be. Let me take a pause for the cause, family. If you appreciate what I do, show your boy some love. You want to support me, cash at me at $LoveAlchemist11. $LoveAlchemist11. If you appreciate what I'm doing, you can show me some support via Cash App. There it is. Let me see. Let me get back to the program. What else did I want to talk about? Teach boys. Look at this. Here's another one, man. This kind of goes back. I kind of touched on this a little bit already when I talked about the 6 basic human needs. And for those who joined late, I'm going to just run over those real quick. The 6 basic human needs are certainty, which is the assurance that you can avoid pain and gain pleasure. Uncertainty, or variety. Variety is the spice of life, right? We all want some level of variety and uncertainty. Significance, we all want to feel important or needed or unique or special in some kind of way. Connection and love, right? Everybody wants some sort of connection. Most people settle for connection because love is scary as hell, right? But when it's all settled, everybody wants to be loved, right? And one of the healthiest ways to be loved is to give love. But that's scary, especially in today's society, because people are tricky. I get it. But organically, I think we all want to feel a very high level of appreciation, being appreciated. And it's also important to reciprocate and offer that level of appreciation. What else? Growth and contribution, right? Those are the 6 human needs. Here's where I'm going with this. Teach young boys, young males, and even adult males, because I know a lot of adult males don't know this. Teach them that those basic human needs transcend gender lines. In other words, what I'm saying is women are not as different from us as what's been advertised. This is a key component to healthy relationships, and this is also why so many of us as men, we fail at relationships, because we've been given all these cliches, we've been given all these slogans about how different women are. Oh, women are emotional while we're logical. And you don't realize sometimes that subconsciously, if you internalize that idea, you automatically think that women are just emotional and men are the only ones capable of being logical. So then when we get into a conversation about something deep or even an argument, she's emotional. So then you're being dismissive rather than understanding that your woman is also capable of bringing a heavy level of logic, and you can have a very constructive conversation. Look, me and my woman, we mastermind, family. That's my business partner. We sit down, we strategize together. My woman is very logical. Now she's more emotional than I am. Can't lie about that. But when things settle, man, I get a very high level of logic and reason from my woman. And I think across the board, women are look, if women were not capable of very high levels of logical function, you wouldn't have Mae Jemison, who's the first female Black astronaut, right? That's not an emotional thing. That's a very logical function. You wouldn't have female chess champions. You wouldn't have female mathematicians. You wouldn't have female scientists, right? All of these require a very high level of logical expression, right? So women are also very logical too, capable of expressing very high degrees of logic. So again, the reason that I brought that up was for context, right? Teach young boys, teach men that these 6 human needs transcend gender lines, and I'm telling you, what that will bring about is a more genuine appreciation for the relationship, right? Some brothers get on my case when I say this, man. I don't look for submission in my marriage. I don't need it. I don't need my woman to be submissive to me. When I think about submission, I grew up watching WWF wrestling, Hulk Hogan and Big John Studd and all them boys, right? Junkyard Dog, Tony Atlas, and one of the things that they do, they will get you in some kind of hold, whether it was the figure 4 leg lock or some kind of arm bar or sleeper hold. And one of the ways that you can get out of that, even right now in UFC, you tap out. You submit. That's the word that they use. All right, I submit to you because you're better than me. You're greater than me. I don't look at myself as being greater than or better than my woman. So I don't require submission from my woman. What I do require, though, is a very high level of cooperation from my woman. I don't need submission. I demand cooperation. Without a high level of cooperation, we don't have anything, right? And I'm telling you, man, look, you do what you do. You run yours how you run it. You kick it how you kick it. But I'm telling you, in my marriage, what has worked best, and I used to be like that, man. I'm a put my foot down kind of guy, and I demand submission, and I was running my marriage in the damn ground, and I learned some things that work much better for me, and so I don't even use words like submission. I use words like cooperation, because think about this, man. Especially in today's age, man, women are making as much and more money than a lot of guys. And so even though many women think in terms of, oh, I need to be submissive, there are a lot of women, when you use a word like submissive, I need you to be submissive, I need my woman to be submissive. When you use that type of language, it's a turnoff for a lot of women. And before the relationship even gets out the gate good, something that could have been a very beautiful thing ends up getting run off the rails because of a word like submission. Sit down and have a conversation. Tell these young brothers, man, and even adult men, think about this. If you sit down with a woman and you talk about what a cooperative effort looks like with that woman, what does cooperation look like for me? What does cooperation look like for you? What do you need from me? What do I need from you in this relationship? You will find that the things that you've been asking for or thinking that you should get from a submissive woman, you're able to get it from a cooperative woman anyway. My woman there's nothing I can ask my wife for that she won't give me. Nothing. My wife the things that she does for me, most of the things she does for me, she does it without me even asking. Now, to the untrained eye, right, to somebody outside my relationship, that looks like submission. Oh man, you got your woman in check. She cook. Man, your dinner's ready as soon as you get home, and she's always checking on you. She wants to know if you need your clothes ironed, or if you need anything washed, or do you want me to make you something for lunch? Whatever it is, right? To some people, that looks like submission, right? But this is part of our cooperative effort. This is part of the deal that we've sat down and we've hammered out. This is what I'm going to do for you. These are the things that you're going to do for me. This is how we meet in the middle. Boom, 33 years later, people are like, damn, how you get what you get? How you get what you got? How you get your woman to do X, Y, and Z? Well, when I tell you, there are a lot of men be like, nah, I need my woman to be submissive. Okay, well, where's she at? Where your submissive woman at? I got a cooperative woman. Where's your submissive woman at? Oh, well, these women don't know what. I just told you how to do it. I just gave you the game for free 99. I gave it to you. Just saying, man. Easy peasy, 1, 2, 3. Right? Let me move on. I had a couple more ideas that I wanted to share with y'all, man. And I'm gonna I sure appreciate y'all hanging with me this long. Here's another one. How do I say this? Physical health, right? Let's talk about physical health. One of the things that we don't talk about, see, who is it? Motri Pullins? Did I say that right? ATL checking in. What's happening, fam? What's happening? Nefertiti says, yes, indeed. I guess those are the praise hands. I appreciate that. Check this out, family. We don't talk enough about men's health, right? The fire for men's health is, first of all, thinking, right? As a man thinketh. That's what the Bible says, right? Even there's another book that I recommend to men too. A book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Powerful book. The book is about that thick. You can read the whole book in about 20 minutes. Powerful piece, though. Talks about the effects of your thoughts on circumstance, right? What we're talking about is men's health. And one of the key components to men's health is our diet, what we eat, the things that we choose to put in our bodies, and the things that we refuse to put in our bodies. For a long time, man, I've had a problem with sugar, a strong addiction to sugar. And but what they don't tell you, so I operate in extremes, right? I go ham on sugar, and then I'll fast and I won't eat sugar again for 3-4 weeks. But I got this, it's almost like I don't have a filter, right? If I start, I ain't stopping until it's gone, right? Hulk smash. I ain't stopping until it's gone. You give me a jar of pralines that big, and I'm gonna eat the whole damn jar, right? And then I say, damn, I did bad. Hulk bad, right? Smack myself on the hand, and I won't eat no sugar for the next 3-4 weeks. Sometimes 2-3 months. I go, nothing outside of the sugar that might be in my fruit. The point I'm making is this. Sugar is the enemy to testosterone. Sugar is the enemy to testosterone. Testosterone is the fuel for your vitality and for your purpose and for your mission and for optimal health. Show me a man who's eating a very high level of sugar consistently, and I'll show you a man who's very uninspired. Show me a man who eats a very high level of sugar, especially if he's advanced in age. If he got one of these, got a whole bunch of gray hairs on his face, but he's eating a very high level of sugar, he probably need that blue pill. If he don't need it, he's probably gonna need that blue pill or them little gas station pills, right? I'm saying start working your way back. Start cutting down on that sugar, and you will find that you need things like that blue pill less and less. And you'll find that you wake up with morning wood more and more often, right? That morning erection, can I keep it 100 with y'all? We're supposed to wake up with an erection every single morning, or at least most mornings. What does that morning erection mean? It doesn't necessarily mean that we're ready to have sex, although it can be used for that. But the real reason for that morning erection is what it is your body does a cleansing process overnight. Your organs are being cleansed. Your body's going through this self-check thing overnight, right? And so by the time you wake up in the morning, bow, you got a tent, right? With that morning erection, that's your way, that's your body's way of saying you good. Meaning, A, you're ready to have fun with your woman, but equally important, the purpose of that erection is to reproduce, right? To reproduce children. Look, when you have trouble getting an erection, that's one of the early indications of heart disease. Problems getting erection, or as they call it, erectile dysfunction, that's one of the earliest indications of heart disease, right? So there are things that you can do to counter that. I'm talking about society still, about how society has failed men. These are things that we should have been taught in 8th grade. They should not even have allowed us to graduate junior high school and enter high school without being taught some of these very basic principles about how to eat, that we should be exercising regularly, if not every day, at least several times a week, several days a week. These are things, a healthy diet and strong exercise, especially resistance training, whether it's pull-ups, push-ups. You can just do isometric exercises, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, get a little cardio in, jump a little rope. You don't have to run for miles and miles, right? But you got to do something, because what that does is it cultivates healthy levels of testosterone in us. Without that, we start experiencing health issues and decline in our health, right? So there's a couple things that you can do, a couple things that you can take. First of all, like I said, healthy diet and exercise. Cut back on that sugar, especially processed sugar, your breads. Slow down on your meat, because that meat, you can still eat meat if you want to, right? But the more meat you eat, especially red meat, it slows down your blood flow, compromises your ability to send blood to the right areas when you need it, right? So slow down on that, and exercise regularly, especially resistance training. But there are some herbs that you can take. I'm gonna recommend this. Write this down. There's one herb called Muira Puama. I'm gonna write it in the chat so you know how to spell it. Muirapuama. Muira Puama. I think it's South American. I want to even say Brazil. That's one herb that you can take. It's a tea that you can drink. I think you can drink it almost daily. That's one. I'm only going to recommend adaptogenic type herbs. And again, talk to your physician, because I'm not a doctor. These are just things that I've added to my regimen to maintain, right? So I can maintain myself. Muira Puama is one. There's another one called Sistanch or Sistanch. There's one. So let me put that on the screen. Muira Puama, for those of you who need to spell that. Show your man that one. You can research that one. The other one is Sistanch or Sistanch. Research that one. All of these are good. You can take them, just about daily, really. Here's another one. Maca root. There's another one. Those are your three. Oh, did it go? There we go. And maca root. Those are three herbs that are really good to help with the male reproductive system. That, along with the diet that's low in sugar, high in fruits and vegetables, would give you your fiber and assist in your blood flow. Oh, here's a power food right here. Let me tell you about this one. Beet root. You can eat regular beets or beetroot powder. Put that in my smoothie sometimes. Beets or beetroot powder. There you go. Where you at? There you go. Beets or beetroot powder. Put your man on any of those or all of those. You can take all of them, really. You can put them in your teas. I put the maca in my smoothie. The beetroot powder, I put that in my smoothie. As far as the Sistanch, I take that just a little half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. It's very bitter, but that's a real good one to maintain male reproductive health. And then the Muira Puama, I mix that with I make tea with that. But the reason I'm sharing that again, these are ways that society has failed men, right? We should know the different things to do in order to maintain our health, in order to cultivate healthy levels of testosterone, right? These things are necessary. What else? Did I have anything else that I wanted to share? Man, it's been a good hour. Man, y'all been hanging with me tough for the whole hour. I appreciate y'all. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And for that, I'm eternally thankful. I appreciate you. Here's another idea. And I kind of touched on this. The deep, no, I'm going to go somewhere else with this because I talked about pretty much devaluing women. But here's an idea that's being promoted. Get the bag and then go get your woman. Now, I understand the need for getting on your grind, finding your purpose. That's important, right? But I also emphasize being serious about our relationships. And I say, be serious early. If you find a woman, if you are 17, look, I met my wife when I was 12. We started kicking it when I was 16. And so I know everybody ain't the same, right? But here's what I say. Even if you're 16, if you find a young woman who is strong on character, high on character, strong integrity, you think that she's honorable, trustworthy, and you have a good connection with her, don't play that game, man. Plenty of fish, you throwing it back, for greener pastures later on. And I say the same thing to a young woman. You find somebody that you match up well with like that, be serious about that relationship. That don't mean that you need to start making babies and start getting married as early as 16, 18. You don't necessarily have to do that. But I'm saying be serious about that relationship and get as much out of that relationship as you can early. Because two things, the fewer sex partners you have, I think the better off you are. I think the fewer sex partners you have in this life, the better off you are. Because not only are children a possibility every time you have sex, but diseases are running rampant, family. Your life is literally on the line these days. So I teach young people, man, be serious early, right? Why did I go down there? Oh, here's where I was going with that. Let me wet my whistle. Look, there are a lot of older men, younger women relationships, right? There are men who, they struggle, they grind, they hustle, and they get to be, 40 and 50 years old and even older. And they say, okay, now I finally got the bag. I got the money that I want. And now I'm gonna go get me the young hot thing that I've always wanted. And they go back and they get these 20, 21, 25, even 30-year-old females. And look, to each their own, right? But generally speaking, those young women who are in those relationships, they're not attracted to the man for organic reasons. They're not there because they genuinely like you. They're there because of what they think you can do for them, right? Not because they like you, they like what you can do for them, right? Because generally, the older we get, the more financially successful, the more financially stable we become. We have more to quote unquote offer to a young woman as far as the material things go, right? But as far as a meaningful connection that's established around mutually beneficial type of arrangement, I'm with you because I genuinely like you, and you're with me because you genuinely like me. The wider that age gap, the less likely that type of connection is. Does that make sense? Let me know if y'all feel me on that. Am I making sense on that? So again, man, I mean, older people need love too, right? So you got to get it how you live. But there's all kinds of statistics. I know that people promote this idea that, back in the day, that's what it used to be. And ideally, I've seen statistics and studies that say that the ideal mate for a younger woman is an older man because of the reasons that I named. He's financially stable, blah, 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 right? But there are also studies that are now coming out that are showing that Domestic violence is more likely when the age gap is wider. Some sort of abuse, maybe due to control issues, are more likely when the age gap is as wide as it is. Anything over like 5 years, you start to find more and more levels of abuse taking place in these different relationships. And that doesn't mean that just because you're in that type of relationship that abuse is automatically going to happen. It's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about likelihood, right? So let me see. Nefertina says, yes, and many men wear out their prostate in the early years and increase the chances of prostate cancer. Note that it is higher and more likely and more fatal in Black men. Let me touch on, I appreciate that comment, Nefertina. Let me touch on that for a second. Prostate cancer, prostate issues. I was reading some years ago about how when men are diagnosed with prostate cancer, any type of cancer scares the hell out of us, right? When we're given a diagnosis of prostate cancer, one of the first, we typically make the decision to have surgery inside of 24 to 72 hours because we feel like it's life threatening. What I learned though is that your life expectancy on average does not change whether you have the surgery or not. You get a diagnosis for prostate cancer today. First thing you should do is get a second opinion and maybe even a third opinion, right? Get several opinions. That's going to take you probably a couple weeks at least, maybe even 2-3 weeks, maybe as much as a month, for you to be seen. But there's no pressure, really. There's no rush because going to have that surgery on average does not change your life expectancy. The average age of a man who's diagnosed with prostate cancer but leaves it untreated, I want to say it's up there in the 70s, man. I want to say it's like 70 years old. If I remember, it's been some years since I read that. I would have been more prepared to talk about that, but I didn't plan to talk about that until you triggered me with that statement, Nefertina. So y'all forgive me, but do your own research on that. But I don't advise any man to go and get prostate cancer. I firmly believe that just about any disease that your body comes down with, your body has the ability on its own to reverse it, to heal it, right? So I just got a text message from my man. He says, my homie Curtis, he says, sex, masturbation, and prostate cancer, what's the link? So there's some talk about that on WebMD if you guys want to read that article. Can sex, masturbation affect prostate cancer? The prostate cancer risk. That's on WebMD if y'all want to read more about that. But like I said, man, y'all do your research. There's a lot of information out there. I tell you right now, as for me and mine, I don't care whatever type of cancer they've diagnosed me with, I'm not getting no surgeries. I'm not getting surgery. I'm not getting radiation. What I will do though is I'm going to fast. When I say fast, I'm talking about just water, right? Just water. And I'm going to do that, man, for as long as it takes. I probably easily do 30 days at least, right? And even when I do come off water, I'll probably go to just smoothies, just my fruit smoothies, and just fruit and vegetables. I'm going to fast all forms of processed sugar, processed salt, no bread, no meat. I'm going ham on just vegetables and my smoothies after I come off my water fast. And I'm telling you, if you do that, and again, I'm not a physician, do your own research, but the power of fasting, man, it is unparalleled. There is nothing in medicine, modern medicine, that rivals the benefits of fasting on the human body. Nothing, right? So no matter what I get diagnosed with, and I ain't getting diagnosed with nothing. I'm going to decree that right now. But if I was to ever get diagnosed with anything, that would be the first step. My first step is to go on a fast, and then come right off that fast with my fruits, my vegetables, my smoothies, good, clean, filtered drinking water. And I'm gonna ride it out, and I'm gonna see how long I got based on what I do for myself. Can't no doctor radiate me, can't no doctor cut on me. And so just going back to the prostate cancer, the life expectancy from what I read is just as long if you don't get if you don't get the surgery, as it is if you do get the surgery. So in other words, there's no real benefit to getting the surgery. On top of that, when they start cutting on you, they open you up to other, they make you more susceptible to other diseases and such. Those hospitals, man, are some of the most germ-filled. Um, like I say, you don't want no problems. So let me see. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Nefertina, here you go. Sea moss, burdock, bladderwrack, soursop reverses many illnesses and conditions. Yes, indeed. I got sea moss downstairs right now. That sea moss and that bladderwrack is a beast. That soursop is known to fight cancer, and that burdock is a blood purifier. I know a little bit about it, a little bit. That burdock, yellow dock, dandelion, and you throw some cayenne pepper in there, and you can kill damn near anything. You can kill damn near anything. You add to that something like wormwood. That wormwood is a beast, right? It chases all kind of parasites out. And then there's another one, NAC. It's called NAC. The letters NAC. It's an acronym, nucleotide something. I forget how to say it, but that's powerful. So all the things we named, Sister Nefertina came through and dropped some bombs with that sea moss, that burdock, bladderwrack, soursop. Those, you can't go wrong with those. I'll add to that yellow dock, cayenne pepper, dandelion, right? You can clean your blood of damn near anything with those. What else? Any comments, questions, complaints, concerns? Did I leave anything out, family? I hope I addressed. My mission was to, like I say, lay out how society has failed men, and then also to offer some ways that we can counter that setup for failure. My lovely wife just got back. Here's an NAC. Look at my baby doll. Boy, you stay coming through. Stay coming through. Here's NAC, family. Look, I'm not a physician. I'm not a physician. Hit that light for me, sweetheart. But this NAC, that stuff is a beast, man. I get mine from lifeextension.com. Actually, I get it from the local store, but you can go to that website, lifeextension.com, and get that N-acetylcysteine. N-acetyl-L-cysteine. That's the name of it. Let's see. Nefertina says, yes, all of us should use dewormers and cleanse our colons naturally. Absolutely. Absolute fact. Let me see. Did I have any notes that I want to share with y'all? Let me make sure before I let y'all go. I know I tend to overshare. Let me see. There's a movie I want to share with y'all, man, about purpose. This movie, it's an old movie, 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. Any of y'all seen that? 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. And the man was on the search for a wife. He had this song, "Bless my beautiful bride, wherever she might be." And he's on the search for his wife. And in his search for the wife, in the song, he's describing what he needs in a woman. He's describing what he needs in a woman. And that's important. You need to know what you need in a woman based on the type of man that you are. But what they left out was what that type of woman might actually want in him. So he found the type of woman that he needed. But then he had to also learn, hey, damn, I found her, but she also needs some things from me. She needs a level of reciprocity. It ain't just about me. It's also about what she needs from me. And they were able to, that was a good movie. They ended up, having a nice little arrangement. But I mentioned that because in that movie and during that song, he lays out what his job, what his mission is, and he was very detailed and very specific on what he was looking for in a woman. Good evening, brother. That must be my brother James. Man, I wanted to have you on here tonight, man. I should have reached out to you and brought you on with me, man. I know you would have added tremendous value for this live, brother. I know you would have added tremendous value to this live. Let me see. Do I have anything else? I think that might be it. Let me see. Let me jump in here. Here's another one, man. Here's another one. Another way that society lets us down. Let me wet my whistle. I didn't talk my voice away. Yeah, that's him. My man. Nefertina, great talk. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, sis. Here's another one, man. Society encourages us or teaches us that we're supposed to be the leaders, right? Men lead. Men lead. Get out there and lead. But they don't really give us any tools for leadership. They don't give us any leadership training. They don't give us any leadership tools. We're just, by default, supposed to lead. I know women out here who are more capable leaders than the men that they're in relationship with. Right? And then this idea of leadership, unfortunately, because we're ingrained with these ideas, there are women who feel like they have to suppress themselves so as to not outshine their husband. They have to dumb down so that they don't appear to be smarter than him. I got to decrease, or she's got to decrease so that he can increase. Otherwise, it's embarrassing because of how we've been programmed. Man, look, there are some ways, there are some areas that my wife knows more than me. There are some areas that I know more than her for sure. But there's an African proverb that says, no single head contains all wisdom. No single head contains all wisdom. There are ways that my wife is wise beyond her years. I'd be like, damn, how you know that? She'd be like, I don't know. Like downloads or something. I don't know where she get it from, how she got it, where she got it. She can't tell you where she got it from. She just know without knowing how she know. I don't care. I don't feel like I'm competing with her. Hell, if she knows something that I didn't know, that's a win for the team. You dig what I'm saying? That's a win for the team. Like there's so many ways that she's creative that the way she put these different things in these books that we've done, I sit down like this relationship book, that was primarily me. But I'm smart enough to say, what do you think about this? And she'd come back and she'd say, well, did you think about this? And I'd be like, damn, no, I didn't think about that. Let me edit accordingly. Right? So again, I'm saying they give us these ideas. See, James says, yes, Coach Vaughn, that's so true. Finally, someone said it. Yeah. Man, they give us these ideas that we're just supposed to lead as if leadership is organic. And it's not, man. It's not. I don't talk about leadership. I don't talk about submission. All I look for is a very high level of cooperation. And then whatever we're presented with, we bring our heads together and the best idea wins. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about winning against my woman, right? Because she's working for my best interest. I'm working for her best interest. So when we come together to talk, it's about the ideas. Which ideas are the best? Not who's the best, not who's the smartest. I don't give a damn about that. Look, we collaborate so much on so many things that we forget whose idea it was. We be coming up with all kind of stuff and be like, and then we playfully argue about, nah, that was my idea. You stole that from me. But the truth is, we talk so much and we collaborate and strategize so much that we get lost in whose idea it was, who came up with the initial concept, because it don't really matter. You see, when you mastermind with someone, mastermind is a verb. It's a noun, but it's also a verb, right? Mastermind is the idea of two or more persons coming together to think collaboratively on whatever the venture is or whatever the effort is for the purpose of a better outcome. Two heads are better than one, right? It's also a verb when we say that. That was the noun that I just gave you. I just described what it was or told you what the thing is. To mastermind, though, the act of masterminding is the coming together. We're going to purposely sit down. We're going to come together and let's do this, right? And we're going to come up with the best idea that we possibly can. Sometimes we bring my daughter in, we bring my son in, and man, we'll strategize. And you know, I strategize with my brother. I strategize with some smart folk. I ain't got to be the smartest. I just got to know how to locate the smart people so that I can get, you know what I mean? I can milk them for their ideas, man. I ain't got to be the brightest. I just got to know who they are, where they are, and then have access to them. Mastermind, man. Your marriage, as much as anything else, should be your greatest source of mastermind. You understand what I'm saying? Your marriage. Look, if your woman, I'm talking to men, right? If your woman is stupid, then you stupid for marrying her. The hell you marry her for? I need my woman to enhance my life. I don't just need a sex partner. I don't just need somebody to have fun. Yeah, we watch movies and have a good time, but I need her to pour into my life to make my life better. And I'm gonna do the same thing for her. I hope I'm making sense, man. I don't want to just be on here rambling. But anyway, these are the types of ideas, man. Look, these are the types of ideas that we put in the Heart Workbook, 31 Days to Mastering Your Relationship. We put 30 plus years of experience, game in this book. It ain't that thick, right? But I think it's powerful. Anyway, man, look, I done held y'all long enough, man. I'll sit here and run my mouth for the next hour. I appreciate y'all for being here. Look, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And for that, I'm eternally thankful. I love y'all, family. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Good night.